Okay, the DLAB, the Defense Language Aptitude Battery Test. Okay, so I assume you're watching this video because you're going to take the test, or you want to take the test. It is scary at first when you hear all of the things about it, okay? But I'm here to explain to you, this is November 13th, what the DLAB is like so that you won't be as apprehensive about taking it, okay? So I went into it thinking that you're going to press a play button and listen to a bunch of mumbo jumbo and have to figure out what they were saying with the rules that were applied. That's not exactly how it goes. I'll just start at the beginning. Okay, so there's 4 sections when you take the DLAB, okay? The first section is really not that long, and whether or not it's difficult to you depends on whether or not you are good at picking out the stresses in the words. For example, perfect. That has a stress on the beginning of the word because you go perfect. Okay? Now, if you switch the stresses around, it would be perfect instead of perfect. That's the thing that I use to help me to determine which stresses were which. I also listen to the word, and because these words that they give you aren't real words, and they can get pretty long with like 5 to 6 syllables. It would be like abracadabra, like crazy words like that, okay? So I used my fingers, and for each syllable I would like make a tap motion, okay? And then whichever syllable sounded, louder or more pronounced to me, I'd be able to tell better because I was listening to each syllable and using my fingers to like make a weird motion. It helped me, okay? But yeah, so that's the stresses. Yeah, that section is like not very long. I think there's like 13 questions or something, but it can get really confusing when all the words have the same amount of syllables and they sound really confusing. And so obviously I don't know how good I did on that specific portion of the test, but I think that what I used helped, and I know for sure that it was easy to pick out which one was the correct answer on a lot of those questions. Okay, so the second part was the grammar part, okay? The beginning is pretty easy. You have like a few rules. I think there's 1 rule it starts you out with, and then 2 rules, okay? And there are very small sentences. If you've watched other DLAB videos, you will probably have heard this. They will say, I'll tell you the exact rules they gave me. The adjective comes after the verb. Hat, red. The vowels that the verb and noun end with have to be the same. Hatty, ready. Hatu, redu. Hatta, redda. Okay? So, I don't remember all the rules, but if you have there's a DLAB study guide. I'll try to link it below. I don't really know how to do that, but I'll figure it out. And it really, really helped me. I don't know if I would have passed if I didn't study that guide, so I would suggest you guys buying that. It's only like $10, I think. Definitely worth it, especially if you're going to be a CTI, because there's enlistment bonuses. That job is really good. If you don't care how long you're going to be in, Okay, so there's 2 rules, and they'll give you like a few questions that just follow those 2 rules. Then they will add another section that explains a different rule. And they explain the rules to you very thoroughly before you go to the part where you actually look at the A, B, C, D squares, press the little button that tells you the answers, and maybe it would be good for me to do this. They'll give you a sentence, okay? So there's the sentence, all right? And then there's the option choices, but they're blank, okay? So it'll be like red hat, a red hat. Translate this with the rules. And then you press this little button that's down here, okay? And then it says A, hatta ready. That's wrong. And then it says B, C, D, and they give you example questions. So it's not that hard as long as you're paying attention and you're remembering the rules. And if you memorize those rules in that study guide, if you take it and it's still the same as it was when I took it, then you were probably going to do pretty well. I didn't memorize the rules. I kind of remembered them, but it wasn't on purpose. I didn't like write them out or say them over and over or anything like that. So you'll have like 4 rules, and then they'll teach you like each of the rules in small sections, and it's timed. And then there's like the second part of the grammar, and it gives you like all of these all of the rules at once, and you have to translate the sentences. It's pretty hard. The only thing I can say really to help you is just make sure that you're listening for a few specific rules and listening for the faults. You know what's going to be wrong. You know what's a wrong answer choice. It's pretty easy to pick out the right one, you know? So that's a good tip. And then there's the grammar part, but it's pretty much the same thing. Or not the grammar, the sentence structure. It's pretty much the same thing, but it's like, it has to do with, it's more rules, and it's the same thing. It's just different. It's not grammar rules. It's the structure of the sentence, how the object comes before the subject or whatever. I don't remember what those rules were, and stuff about the possessive. If you get that study guide, it has those rules in there. So I'm not gonna explain them to you. Okay, so. Alright, the last part of the test, honestly, I don't know if it was the hardest part of the test, but it was pretty hard. It was the visual part, okay? Now, I thought the visual was going to be easy. They're going to show you a picture of a dog and a guy and a ball getting kicked by a guy, and it'll be like, the dog will be like, blop, and the guy will be like, Zadu, and then the guy kicking the ball would be like Zadu rep ka, and then so they show you a picture of a dog kicking the ball, and you would be like whatever word I said for dog, and then like the other 2 words for the one picture that was the guy kicking the ball. But it was not that simple, okay? The examples that they give you in that book I read are like simple like that, okay? This isn't really helpful. I'm just like stressing out, but the top, they would show you 4 pictures, okay, on the top. There would be 4 squares on the top, and there'd be words in the squares and pictures, you know. But the pictures on the bottom, there's 3 pictures on the bottom that have answer choices by them, and you choose which one is explaining what happens in the picture in this weird language. And I was so confused in some of these because the pictures don't directly relate to the ones on the bottom. So you have to really look at all the possibilities of what this picture could be, okay? So in the answer choices, there will definitely be one word from the boxes that you know that's like obviously translated. Like the word for dog, like bop, is like in this picture there's a dog doing something. So obviously all of the answer choices are gonna have bop in them, okay? But you gotta figure out what the other part is. Like, is he biting a ball? Like, what is it, running around in the grass? You don't have a picture up here of running around in the grass. You don't have a picture up here of a ball or anything getting bitten. So like, it's really confusing because you have to look really into it and connect something from the pictures to the answer choices. And I would usually, when you get pretty deep into the visual part, you start to realize that the words change, but there's little parts of the words that mean different things. So the ending might match the ending of this other word, and it makes it mean this other thing. So you just gotta kind of like hold on to the little bits and think about what they could possibly mean. And usually if you look in the answer choices, there's only gonna be one or two choices that definitely have that little bit on the end that you think you need. So that's how I dealt with the visual section, although very near the end I was like almost giving up. Oh, but I passed, so you can do it too. And don't feel that anxious. Just study, make sure you know your grammar, do all the things that the people on YouTube tell you to. And if you really want the job, if you really want to pass, you're gonna pass. Because I really wanted to pass, and I passed. So just prepare yourself. And it's not the hardest thing in the world, so good luck.